Hello and welcome to Re-enthused. Today we are taking a look at this, which is the Bandai Super Controller 2. So this is an extra controller for the Famicom, which I should probably go and grab one. Hold on. Like this one, which if you know the original Famicom, it's got built-in controllers, though they are not removable. So you are probably thinking, well, so it's not removable, how are you adding other controllers in? Well, that's because it did have this port here, which is the accessory port. Now, this port's used for a few things, such as light guns and such like, and also the super controller, which, let's take it out of the box. This is the Japanese release, obviously, because it works on the Famicom. There was also a NES version called the Mega Controller, which is pretty similar, slightly different design, and designed to fit inside a NES, so a normal joystick controller. Obviously, the NES had joystick ports. So what is this? Well, as you can see, it's a controller, but it does a little bit more than you kind of expect a normal controller to do. So you see it's got a nice LCD panel there. So connecting, let's just connect it to this, just so, there you go. So that fits snugly inside there. It doesn't get power from this though. It actually gets power from 4 AAA batteries in the back. And so if we turn it on by flipping this switch at the side, we get an LCD panel nicely lit up. Right, let's see if we can zoom in on this. Right, there we go. So now we're close up, we can see all of the different buttons. You can see up here we've got these 3 buttons: mode, lock and level. Obviously the normal controller buttons around there. So what do these do? Well, if we look over here, you'll see this Japanese text here. We can translate that. So the this first one is turbo. Then we have slow-mo, arsenal, timer, memory, and up here, which is really the last one at the top here, is game. So let's go through these functions then. I think obviously turbo and slow-mo you probably understand. So that's obviously turbo fire and slow-mo. Now you'd probably possibly have seen slow-mo on these style consoles before. So there wasn't any inbuilt function to do slow motion. What they tended to do was basically toggle the pause on and off really quickly using basically the start button. This does the same thing. And turbo effectively just sends more fire button presses through. So you press it once, it will send 2, 3, or 4. So this has got so those are those 2 functions, and you can also use the level to increase how much they work. So the slow-mo, you can make it so that it toggles that start button faster, so it basically slows down more. And the auto fire, turbo fire, you can make it so it fires more often when you push one button. Fairly obvious so far. Arsenal's a bit of a weirder one. So effectively you can set how much of a button you've got. So say you're in a game where you've only got a small amount of a type of weapon, say you've got 10 of something. You could have it so you push a button 10 times and then it will pause the game, with the idea being that you can make changes to something in the game or do other changes, things like that. So slightly niche use, but there are other uses for it, I would imagine. And there's the next one is timer, and that basically lets you set a time limit of playing the game. So after that time limit, it will just pause the game and the buttons won't work and things like that. I guess if you want to limit your kids or something to amount of time. Then there's memory, which is a much more complex one. So memory will record a series of button and movement clicks. So one of the examples they give in the manual for this is if you're doing a password and you have to keep entering a password in, you can save the combination as a memory, and then you just have to push one button to get to play back the sequence. Kind of useful for several things. And then there's game 1. So this actually has 2 games built into it. So the first game, which is the one you have access to straight away, is it's just basically a button mashing game. So you have to be able to push buttons A and B about 120 times. If you do that 120 times, then you unlock the second game, which is a very simple catching game where you just move something left and right to catch it from the screen. So yeah, this game controller also has a game built into it. So yeah, this was an interesting little purchase. You can push the mode buttons here. Look, so we're currently on auto fire. That's on slow mo, and then we're down to arsenal, timer, memory, and there's game 1, and it will just drop back to that again because we haven't unlocked game 2. So if we push the level, that number will change to show you how much that works. So yeah, that's off, obviously. It's an interesting little little controller. It's, I would say, it's not as nice a controller as the, let's say, the Famicom's built-in ones. You just get one of these around here. There we go. So it's not quite as nice as these. The buttons are a bit looser, and the pad is a bit just a bit stickier than the built-in ones, but it's not terrible. It's certainly usable. And the extra functions are interesting, although obviously it's another thing to remember to take batteries out of if you put it in storage so they don't rot. But yeah, interesting enough. And you can get them relatively cheap as well. So it's a nice addition to any collection. It's also it's a follow-up to, obviously, the Super Controller number 1. But that was very different. That was just a clip-on fascia for the normal controllers. And it really just added an arcade-style stick to it, which this one doesn't even do. But anyway, it's fairly interesting. Just a nice, simple look at this device. Right. If you like the video, please hit like. If you really like the video, please hit subscribe. If you didn't like the video or you have something else to say, then please leave it in the comments below. See you next time.